Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Yellowstone's spin-off success proves its original plan could have worked even without Kevin Costner. Taylor Sheridan's Yellowstone franchise now numbers 3 different TV shows with a combined viewership of around 30 million people, while a 4th show is currently in production. The critical and commercial success of both 1883 and 1923 demonstrates that the original Yellowstone series itself didn't have to end after 5 seasons in December 2024. The show could have continued for at least 2 more years, even without its main protagonist, John Dutton, played by Kevin Costner. Indeed, Yellowstone's producers initially planned for the series to run for much longer than the 53 episodes it ended up having. According to a recent report published in Bloomberg, Taylor Sheridan apparently wanted Yellowstone to run for 8 seasons or more. Instead, he and fellow creator and executive producer John Linson wrapped the show's story up after 5 seasons, including an extended 5th season in 2 parts. This is because Costner's exit from Yellowstone, due to disagreements over scheduling, pay, and the creative direction of the series, precipitated its premature ending. Sheridan decided to expand the Yellowstone universe via spin-offs involving different sets of characters, rather than continue the original show for further seasons without Costner. As Yellowstone Season 5 Part 2 illustrates, there were still plenty of stories left to be told on the Dutton Ranch, even after John Dutton's death. Costner's character was initially the heartbeat of the show, but he didn't need to be the central protagonist throughout its entire run. In fact, it's John's ancestor Elsa Dutton, the narrator of Sheridan's spin-off series 1883 and 1923, who has the final word in Yellowstone's ending, while John's son Case had already taken over the running of the Dutton Ranch before his death. The show lasted as long as it did, maintaining an audience of around 10 million viewers throughout its 5 seasons, precisely because it didn't over-rely on the sole presence of John Dutton, and developed the character arcs of its supporting cast. By the end, there were several narrative threads running concurrently in Yellowstone, from Case and Monica Dutton's ownership of the ranch, as well as their internal relationship dynamic, to the growing antagonism between John's daughter Beth and his adoptive son Jamie. Yellowstone's prequel series 1883 and 1923, their upcoming follow-up show The Madison, and Beth and Case's confirmed spin-offs underline that John Dutton is just one character in a much bigger Taylor Sheridan universe. While John Dutton is one of Sheridan's best-ever creations, Yellowstone didn't need him to continue pulling audiences in with compelling storylines built around other members of the Dutton family. If Yellowstone had continued without John Dutton for 3 more years, the show couldn't have killed Jamie off as it does during the final episode. Yellowstone would have had to draw out the struggle between Beth and Jamie. While it could have developed Jamie's character arc to the extent that he became a mirror image of his dead adoptive father in the state politics of Montana. Meanwhile, there could have been entirely new storylines developed around the new generation of ranchers that Case and his wife, Monica, who is of Native American heritage, represent. Suffice it to say that Yellowstone could have sustained itself as a standalone show for at least 7 or 8 seasons, despite the departure of Kevin Costner, especially because of the upcoming series starring John Dutton's kids. Rather than have Beth and Rip's spin-off, Dutton Ranch, and Casey's untitled spin-off, the Dutton siblings could have continued to be the stars of Yellowstone in the format Sheridan intended. But at the end of the day, whether it's through more seasons of Yellowstone or new sequel series, I'm happy I get to spend more time with first galloped onto television screens in 2018. It carried the promise of a sweeping modern Western epic, anchored by the unmistakable star power of Kevin Costner. With his gravelly voice, weathered charisma, and long history of iconic cowboy roles, Costner felt like the natural centerpiece for Taylor Sheridan's ambitious tale of family, legacy, and land. Yet, as the dust settles on several wildly successful spin-offs, 1883, 1923, and the upcoming 1944, a compelling truth has emerged. Yellowstone didn't need Costner to ride high. It just needed Sheridan's vision. Costner's John Dutton was the magnet that initially drew millions. But what kept them coming back, and what now draws them even deeper into the Dutton family saga, wasn't his singular performance. It was the sprawling mythology Sheridan built, the tightly wound family drama, the Shakespearean overtones, and the pitch-perfect sense of place. With each spin-off, the universe expanded and matured, and, crucially, thrived without Costner's involvement. Take 1883, for instance. The prequel stripped away the glitz and dropped us into the blood and grit of America's pioneer days. Anchored by Tim McGraw, Faith Hill, and a breakout performance by Isabel May, it delivered a story both heartbreaking and unrelenting. Sheridan's writing didn't lean on star power, it leaned on authenticity. It pulled in 4.9 million viewers during its premiere, a staggering number for a streaming series. That kind of success underscored a hard truth. Viewers didn't need Costner. They needed a great story. Then came 1923, which elevated the franchise to another level. Harrison Ford and Helen Mirren brought gravitas, but again, it was the world building that carried the show. Fans tuned in not because Ford was the new Dutton patriarch, but because the universe Sheridan had built in Yellowstone had become irresistible. Each generation of Duttons reflected a broader American struggle: survival, expansion, justice, and the burdens of inheritance. By now, the characters mattered more than any single actor. Meanwhile, the original series faced turbulence. Reports of behind-the-scenes conflicts and Costner's demanding filming schedule contributed to delays and uncertainty. Yet, while Yellowstone slowed, the spinoff surged. Viewers barely flinched. That's telling. It suggests the franchise is larger than any one man, yes, even a man with Costner's iconic resume. What Sheridan has done is craft a television dynasty. Think of it like a ranch. Costner may have been the sturdy fence post you noticed first, but the land, the story, was always what gave it value. Sheridan's true genius lies not in casting, but in carving out a universe so compelling, audiences want to explore every dusty trail. From the searing pain of losing loved ones on the frontier to the morally gray decisions made in the boardrooms and bunkhouses of modern Montana, the Dutton legacy spans eras and ideas. And in each chapter, new characters step into the spotlight without missing a beat. Moreover, the streaming era has made ensemble storytelling not just viable but desirable. Long gone are the days when a series had to hinge on one actor's draw. In Yellowstone, breakout characters like Beth, Rip, and Case Dutton have inspired as much loyalty as John himself. In the prequels, it's Elsa Dutton's narration, or Sister Mary's fierce ideology, or Spencer Dutton's trauma that captivates. These aren't side dishes. They're the new main course. The data backs this up. Nielsen ratings, streaming numbers, and social media buzz all point to a franchise flourishing far beyond Costner's shadow. Paramount's investment in spin-offs, including the Matthew McConaughey-led successor series, shows confidence that the Dutton brand is bigger than its founding father. It's a bold pivot, but one that's paying off. So what would Yellowstone have looked like without Costner from the beginning? Likely it would have been leaner, possibly even riskier. But risk is Sheridan's bread and butter. He writes about men and women on the edge, of morality, of survival, of history. His shows aren't about stars. They're about choices, consequences, and the land that remembers everything. That's not to say Costner didn't bring something special to the table. His presence gave Yellowstone prestige. It lent the series instant credibility and drew in viewers who might not have otherwise watched a neo-Western drama. But 5 spin-offs later, it's clear that the house Sheridan built would have stood even without Costner holding the door open. Maybe the crowds would have arrived a bit slower, but the foundation was always rock solid.